Well, good afternoon, everyone. So glad to have so many friendly faces from our post-secondary partners. I'm Dr. Lupe Lamadrid, if we haven't had a chance to work together, and I'm actually delighted to be co-sponsoring this very important webinar. So this is going to be an opportunity for you to learn about how your post-secondary institution can work to provide or work to get approved to provide the GATOR dollars for dual enrollment. So we felt that this was a very, very important conversation and wanted to share it with everyone. And I believe that it is being recorded so we can, put that on the Board of Regents website for others to listen to. So I'm going to turn it over to Caleb. Thank you so much, Caleb.
Thank you, Dr. Lamadrid. I definitely appreciate the opportunity to share some information about an exciting new program with you all today, and appreciate the Board of Regents for co-sponsoring this event, giving the Department of Education some time with higher ed leaders around the state. My name is Caleb Moore. I'm the Deputy Chief of Staff at the Office of School Choice at the Louisiana Department of Education. We will be overseeing the new LA GATOR program and are excited to share with you information about this program. So this meeting will be recorded and hopefully be able to post later. So we do ask that all questions are sent through the Q&A feature below, and that participants do remain on mute throughout the duration of the webinar today. So a little bit of background about the Louisiana GATOR program. This program was signed into law by Governor Jeff Landry on June 19th, 2024, and enacted by the Louisiana legislature as Act 1. This is the first ever ESA, or Education Savings Account program in the state of Louisiana. These are commonly known as education savings accounts or education freedom accounts or otherwise around the nation. But this one is an education scholarship account in Louisiana. The Louisiana Giving All a True Opportunity to Rise Scholarship will open applications for students and families this Saturday at 9 a.m. And can be found at lagator.la.gov. This will be for the first school year of the program, 2025 to 2026. Providers approved in the Supplemental Course Academy, or Course Choice as it's more commonly known, may participate in the LA GATOR program as a service provider. So throughout the webinar, we'll go into a little bit more detail on what that looks like, what a service provider can do and offer in the LA GATOR program. So who's eligible for the LA GATOR program? In phase one, the first students eligible are students who participated in the Louisiana Scholarship Program for the previous year. Next, we have students who are entering kindergarten, students who were enrolled in a public school for the previous year, so meaning they're enrolled in public school now, or students from a family with a total income at or below 250% of the federal poverty guidelines. Phases will change subject to the availability of funds appropriated by the legislature for this program. In phase two of the program, so the information on your screen now is for phase one, which we'll begin in. If funding is available, we'll move to phase two, which then increases that the fourth circle to 400% of the federal poverty guidelines, making more families in the state eligible. And if enough funding is available after that, phase three is all K through 12 students in the state of Louisiana. So the levels of funding will be allocated on a per pupil funding formula that is based on, but not the same as, the MFP Minimum Foundation Program. So these numbers are percentages for the students that are eligible for this program. The amounts that they'll be able to receive if the student has an exceptionality and is from a family that is identified as 250% or below of the federal poverty guidelines, they'll be eligible for an amount up to $15,253, or 160% of the per pupil amount. After that, students who are meeting the 250% or below of the federal poverty guidelines will be eligible for around $7,500 per academic year in the program. And then all other students meeting the other eligibility criteria will be able to get around $5.2 thousand in funding for the LA GATOR program. So what is the opportunity for post-secondary providers to participate in LA GATOR? So post-secondary providers that also participate or are approved for the Supplemental Course Academy or Course Choice program can participate in the LA GATOR program as a service provider. LA GATOR does include post-secondary dual enrollment and career and technical education as well as a few other service provider categories in the list that was approved in policy to offer through LA Gator. SCA providers can register on the Odyssey platform and, if approved, offer courses and other educational services to LA Gator students. Parents will be able to select your offering from the Odyssey Marketplace, which is where the vendor application will also be. And then they can pay directly from their student accounts, which will be funded at the amounts previously mentioned. All payments for this program will be administered from the Odyssey platform to Stripe accounts. So any institution looking to participate in this program would need to set up a Stripe account, which is very quick and easy to do to receive payments for this program. There is support available for the LA Gator program on an ongoing basis. First and foremost, if you're interested in offering some of your courses that are approved in the SCA program to LA Gator students, you can register at lagators-vendors.withodyssey.com. You can find more information about this program that's updated pretty much every day right now at lagator.la.gov. There's lots of helpful frequently asked questions, information about program policy, program updates. Application links will also be hosted there. And there's a dedicated page that you can find at the tab LA Gator Service Providers that will give you more information and frequently asked questions specific to the type of provider that you would be applying as. Odyssey is the program administrator. You'll hear Odyssey a lot in this program and on our website. Odyssey is the program administrator that's actually hosting the platform for the LA Gator program. They're available for support by phone at 225-422-1538 or by email at help.la@withodyssey.com. And there is also an instant chat feature in the bottom right corner of their website, withodyssey.com. And again, the vendor application can be found at lagator-vendors.withodyssey.com. So that's all the information that we had to share in the slides. We really wanted to open this up to question and answer. I know that there's probably a lot of questions about a program like this, and wanted to really give time to answer those. So please feel free to go ahead and put those in the Q&A function below.
Caleb, while we're waiting for our guests to write their questions, I put in a couple of links into the chat for everyone. And if you could maybe talk a little bit about the list of the Gator schools, that how do schools get approved to be a part of the program?
Absolutely. So schools will apply, institutions will apply as service providers at the vendor link, the LA Gator vendors dot with Odyssey link. So once your institution puts your information there, you'll be provisionally approved as a SCA provider. But at that point, you will not have yet uploaded your service offerings, which would be, in this instance, the individual courses that you're offering. So once those are added, you can add those either individually or by uploading a CSV file of all the courses that you currently offer that you would seek to offer in LA Gator. And then those would be checked against the list for the approved SCA courses, and they would be added then to the Odyssey Marketplace. Families would see that kind of similar. I kind of refer to it as an educational Amazon. Families will be able to open a marketplace interface that they're very familiar with, navigate. They'll be able to click and read information and anything deemed relevant for the course. And then they can select it. They'll basically add it to their cart and be able to pay for it directly on the Odyssey Marketplace.
I like that, educational Amazon.
Absolutely. All right. Doesn't look like we've had any questions in the Q&A feature here. I'll go ahead and check.
And Caleb, will we have a copy of this slide deck to share with the attendees?
Absolutely. Happy to share a copy of the slide deck with all attendees.
Perfect. Thank you.
Looks like I have a few questions in the chat here. Will this system replace the disbursement of SCA funds for schools, or will those continue? So this will actually operate completely separately from the SCA program. Students are actually not able to be enrolled in both of these simultaneously. So families would, the SCA requirement is actually just the eligibility for the service offering on the platform. So students would not be concurrently participating. They would be in the same course, but they would be attending it through LA Gator instead of through the SCA program. This would just be a different requirement for the LA Gator program. Next question here, does a student have to leave a high school to attend a community college, or can they do both? So students in this program, it's really an opportunity for families to kind of build an education that fits them. There is a requirement that students are not enrolled in a public school to be in this program. They may be taking courses at a public school that chooses to participate also as a service provider, but they may not be enrolled in the public school itself. So these students may be enrolled in a non-public school, paying tuition and fees full time, and then choose if they have extra account funds or if they're utilizing private pay for their tuition and utilizing Gator for other opportunities. They could participate in both and then get courses from their community college or university as they see fit on the Gator marketplace. Another question here, who is eligible for dual enrollment funding? So all of the students included on the previous slide would be eligible for LA Gator funding. And then these offerings would be added to the marketplace, the Odyssey marketplace that families could see and select from. So the Odyssey marketplace functionality has all service offerings open to all students that are in the program. So we would encourage on the provider end to share information about the requirements of your courses. And not all students that select your course are automatically approved to attend it. So you will still have the ability on your side of the profile to approve those students as you see fit. They would still need to meet any other criteria that you would have for those courses. The next question, is the vendor application open? The vendor application is open at the link and also linked on our website. That link will remain open. So you're encouraged to put in an application now if you're interested, but there's also no penalty if you would choose to wait. The marketplace won't actually be open for families to view until accounts are funded. We anticipate that to be sometime in early July, but yeah, plenty of time between now and then to make decisions and upload service offerings. Next question here, what does SCA stand for? SCA is the Supplemental Course Academy, more commonly known as Course Choice. We have some other experts here on the call from our college and career readiness team that would be able to speak more to that if there are further questions, but lots of information can be found at our website, doe.louisiana.gov on that program. Next question here, how would a high school know if a student was using the family SCA plan and not the high school SCA funds? I think I might need a little bit more clarification on that question there.
Yeah, you said that, I'm sorry, Sarah from BRCC. Hi. You said that there would be two separate processes that the student would be using their funds. But what if a student is enrolled in a class and the counselor wants to put them in a dual enrollment class? How would we know that the school SCA fund is paying for that versus the family? Am I saying it correctly?
I think I understand the question there. So students in this program would actually not be they wouldn't be enrolled in they wouldn't be enrolled in the public school at all. If they're enrolled in a non-public school and the counselor would choose to put them in one of these courses, if the family is approved for LA Gator, the family would be able to pay however they would see fit, of course, in connection with the school. But I think maybe Jessica Valalongo from our college and career readiness team is on. She may be able to provide a little bit more information about this.
Okay, I think that question came from Dr. Barlow.
Yes.
Ma'am.
Excellent. Excellent. Dr. Barlow, great question. So the Course Choice program and the Course Choice portal would remain the same. So that would be how y'all are processing your public school students, right? Oftentimes the counselor is working directly with your admissions officer. This would be on the other side of how y'all are managing private school students and or your homeschool students. So they wouldn't be coming through the counselor because they wouldn't be part of that public school system. They would be part of either, the homeschool or the private school side. And Caleb, jump in if I kind of misrepresented that other side. So it would mirror those two processes we know y'all are already doing.
Thanks, that helped.
Thank you. Next question here in the chat is, where do we get a list of high schools participating in the program? So this will eventually be able to be found on the Odyssey Marketplace when that opens. For now, Participating schools are included in the family application when that will open. Families are able, as they're applying, to select a school. It doesn't have a full enrollment bearing. It's just indicating their interest in that school so that school can know that the family is interested. They will still need to go to that, in this case, a non-public school approved by the state board and meet their admissions criteria there. But the list of all the non-public schools would be available in the drop-down menu for right now in the family application. We haven't yet published a full list of the non-public schools participating in this, as it could change all the way up to and through the family application. Generally, for non-public schools to participate in this and accept students full time, they would have to be approved by BESE, the State Board of Education. So many of those schools, including those that had previously participated in the Louisiana Scholarship Program, will be participating in this program. Next question here: how would students' parents be directed to our early college application portal after they find one of our courses in the Odyssey Marketplace? That is also an area that I'm unfamiliar with, but happy to bring in someone else from our team or direct to resources and get back to you on that question. So I will definitely save the chat log here, and any questions that unable to answer will get an answer sent back to you. Next question: can students take classes at multiple colleges or universities with this program? Absolutely. So students can select multiple classes from multiple institutions. They can take a mix of classes that can be all or in part from a non-public school, any specific university or community college. And then public schools, whoever chooses to participate on the service provider platform for the program. Next question: does this program mainly benefit students that go to private schools, or are they homeschooled? Yeah, so I see that this may have been answered, but to provide additional clarification here, students can choose two pathways in the application. One that is enrolled full-time in a BESE approved non-public school. The other we refer to as home-based education. Not necessarily meaning that it's homeschool as commonly known, but it could be. But it could also be that a student is based at home, but they're taking their courses through a mix of universities, dual enrollment programs, non-public schools, and others. Next question here: what are the student-specific requirements for them to be eligible for this? So I'll move back to our eligibility criteria here. First, they will have to be a Louisiana resident. And that will be verified in real time through connection with the Department of Revenue on the application. And then these four criteria on the screen would be the phase one eligibility. Again, if funding is made available to the program that exceeds the demand in phase one, it will move to phase two, which then increases that last circle to 400% of the federal poverty guidelines. And then if funding is still available after that, it will move to all K-12 students in Louisiana, or more commonly known as universal eligibility in phase three of the program. The phases, again, are not tied to years. They are tied to funding for the program.
Caleb, I have a question that came up. What type of service provider should post-secondary institutions apply as? A part-time education provider?
Absolutely. A part-time education provider would be the right pathway here.
And then I have one more question. Will this system replace the disbursement of SCA funds to schools, or will those continue?
I believe those will continue. This will be completely separate from anything in the SCA program. The only interaction that these two programs would have would be for the LA GATOR program to check that the courses were approved for SCA because we're effectively using the same approval to count for GATOR eligibility. So next question in the chat here. So if the family controls where the students' funds go, how will colleges be notified that sufficient funds are in the account to pay the colleges? Aren't supplies and books also covered? Yes, so there are many things that are also covered through the LA GATOR program. Generally, it's important that the universities, the colleges, any provider and any school that participates in the program have open lines of communication with the families and let them know the importance of paying tuition. Family accounts will be funded on a quarterly basis. But families will have to go into their accounts and manually make payments. So it is important to communicate with families that their tuition will need to be paid and maybe give them support on when to pay, considering their quarterly funding dates. Another question that I think I missed over was no test score requirements or anything like that. There are no test score requirements in this program. Students are required participating in this program to take a national norm referenced assessment annually when they participate in ELA and math. There's an approved list of assessments that include most of the most common used norm reference assessments, as well as the state assessment for students in this program yearly. But there are no test score requirements to continue participating in this program or anything like that. This is more of a funding mechanism.
Mr. Moore, if I can just add, when it's mentioned there are no test score requirements, I just want our partners to know that if you have requirements, if you have test score requirements for a student to actually be able to enroll, those are not waived. Your requirements remain your requirements. But as far as a standardized test requirement, that is not something that's associated.
Correct. The testing requirements for the admission requirements or eligibility for dual enrollment stays the same. This is a separate. It's a funding mechanism.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely appreciate that clarification. All right, I believe that is all questions in the chat now. We'll check Q&A. We may have some questions in there. Looks like we've covered the ones in the Q&A and no new questions in the chat as of right now. All right, well, we'll give it a couple more minutes in case there are any further questions. But again, appreciate everyone's participation in this. Thank you for your interest in listening to some information about the LA GATOR program. I'll once again plug our website, lagator.la.gov, as a one-stop shop for all information about the LA GATOR program, as well as the lagator-vendors.withodyssey.com link. And then on your screen, you'll see the email and the phone number for Odyssey support. They will be your best contact moving forward. If you're interested in applying as a vendor, they can help you in very quick, very helpful to get you on the platform as soon as possible. All right, well, seeing no further questions, I think we can go ahead and wrap up here. Thank you so much to everyone on this call, to Board of Regents, to the LDOE team for supporting this, for providing additional information. Again, lagator.la.gov is the best place for information, and thank you all for joining today.
Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
All right, y'all too. Thank you.